special co-host, comic Steve Esposito. And we are joined by a legendary horror actress and actress in general, Debbie D. How are you, Debbie?
Fine. Good to be here this morning.
We've done many shows together, going back several years now. Tell us what's been happening as of late.
Well, I'm still traveling all around and doing horror movies and comedy movies and everything in between, except for X-rated.
Good. Because that leads nowhere.
I haven't crossed that line.
Yeah, don't cross that line.
No. I've been asked.
I have friends in that industry, and it basically leads to nothing.
Yeah. Keep the camera in the bedroom.
There you go. And Debbie, I've done the comic, horror, sci-fi, wrestling convention circuit myself over the years, and it's an interesting like joy and pain, love-hate thing because after a while it can be a grind. What's your take on all of that?
Well, the fans make it nice. I think they save the day.
Except for like the 400-pound guy who stands in front of your table for 20 minutes and blocks everybody else.
But you know what? I don't mind that because I feel like if people want to see me, they'll catch me at that show. They'll catch me another show, and maybe he came further. Or if he's standing there, it means he really wants to be there. So I rather him stay there than push him away. And
there you go. That's is
the
glass half full or half empty?
You're right, and I know it's about like being there and selling your things, but money isn't everything. It's just a way of trade.
That's positive. That's positive. I found that I would be at a convention in Texas and see the same people from New York and New Jersey, and after a while I go, it's not that glamorous. Although part of me loved it. You meet some fascinating people, some incredibly talented people, and most of them are not cut out for 9 to 5, and that in and of itself is kind of a blessing.
Well, 9 to 5 in the entertainment industry, you're working all the time.
Right.
But like they say, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
And I always talk to Steve about the technology of it all, the promotion and always keeping your name out there. And what would you both suggest as far as performers or radio or TV shows or whatever the case may be? How do you use the technology?
Well, when I first started, I guess I started in the music. Everything was magazines in the 90s. The big thing was magazines. So I think I was in every magazine imaginable. And that was great because I always was accepted, and I was always doing things that allowed me to be in a different magazine because I was doing something different, and it was not just the same. That's how I earned the title of the ultimate fantasy queen, but it was just basically because I just do a lot of different things.
And
but as far as media,
how do you climb the ranks to be the ultimate queen?
No, the ultimate. I don't know. I'm sure there's someone more ultimate out there. I'm the ultimate fantasy queen, but and then it went to ultimate scream queen. But there's a lot of good scream queens.
Who are your favorites?
Scream queens?
Yeah. Who do you enjoy working with a lot?
Well, we pass each other sometimes at the airport, but Tina Kraus is one of my close friends, and Laura Giglio from way back when we worked in the 90s. I worked with Debbie Rochon and Linnea Quigley and Brink Stevens. So I was just we all have our own little niche.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes.
Who would you consider the best actress of the bunch?
Me.
Okay.
Of course. Dina Demko, she's good. And of course, we have a different flair to us, a different flavor.
If somebody said we have Lady Macbeth waiting, who would you give the script to? who would you consider the best actress of the bunch?
Oh my. Me.
Okay, fair enough. I put you on the spot. It's like 60 minutes. I'm going to grill you.
Okay, give it to me first, and if you don't like it, we'll pass it down.
And Steve.
Yeah.
I was on YouTube yesterday. I saw a ton of Debbie's stuff getting ready for the interview. A ton of content. How would you use the technology to really keep somebody's name out there? And
in order to, I think, to properly use technology, the best way to keep yourself out there is to pretty much jump on like every social network and just constantly
every
single. Oh yeah, there's a zillion of them. There's a new one popping up every day. But like the second you hear something being like remotely warm, like jump on it, be like one of the first people to adapt to it, learn it. Like, because learning the social media it's a job in itself. It literally is a job.
Oh yeah.
Like there's people looking,
especially if you're a little older like me. I didn't grow up with it, so you know it's not easy.
I went for a job interview a while ago, and I sat there, and there was just this one dude on the computer, and he had like 3 screens. He had 3 monitors set up on his computer station, and I looked at the owner. I'm like, oh, what's that guy doing? He's like, oh, that's our social media guy. I'm like, he's got 3 screens. All he does is just monitor social media, and they change people out. This guy sits there for 8 hours, does Facebook. He gets up, someone else comes in, and they do the next 8 hours on Facebook. Like, it's a 24-hour thing now. So it's like, but for entertainment wise, throw a video up there. Instagram is like the biggest one, because Instagram, you can send it right to Facebook, you can send it right to anything else.
Yeah, my Facebook goes to Twitter.
Yeah. I try to keep the Twitter and Facebook separate because I have family on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they won't understand half the jokes I make on Twitter, so I have to like keep those audiences separated by a little bit. Or
don't you agree with like saturation though? I'd rather have something that I'm putting out and then give it to the public, which is what I'm used to doing. Not like, oh, I'm downtown now at this club. I don't. Not that I don't get it. It's just not me. It's just you either like what I put out or you don't. Whether you follow my every move. I have a personal life too, and I kind of like don't like to be constantly in people's faces like I used to be.
It also depends on the degree that you want to be. If you want to really be out there, if you really want like, even I can't even say like young people, because like everyone considers me really young, but there's a whole generation of people who are way younger than I am.
Like 5.
No, not.
Yes.
I'm 31, and there's like 20-something-year-olds who will jump on all the social media, do all this stuff.
You're old.
Yeah, I'm considered.
Yes.
I'm considered old, but they're like what they'll do is now, what these younger people do is they will do something controversial, because as the old school saying is like, any news is good news as long as they spell your name correct. So
or the squeaky wheel gets.
No, not even that much so, but like. Like you have this guy who's really big on YouTube. His name is Jake Paul, and if you don't know who this guy is, that you're lucky, because this guy he's really obnoxious. He's really over the top. He does bad things on purpose because it stirs controversy, and now his name gets talked about more. So it's him. He's got another brother who I think his name is like Logan Paul or something, who like went to a Japanese forest and filmed like a dead body hanging in the forest.
Right,
yeah, and that's news. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, now people who are outside that circle, who aren't really that demographic, now they know about this guy.
You know what I saw on YouTube the other day? This huge muscle guy walks around and he knocks cigarettes out of people's hands, and he like dares them to do anything to him because he's like a monster, this guy. But I'm like, somebody's going to shoot the guy. He actually walks up to you, knocks the cigarette out of your hand.
I mean, what's the purpose?
He's trying to make a point that it's not healthy, and
well,
I don't want your secondhand smoke, but he physically hits the cigarette out of their hands.
But also think about that. Now you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Like now it became viral to the point where now we're talking about it. Now it's a big deal.
Important, and where does that lead?
See, that's the thing. I don't think a lot of people really think about that aspect. A lot of younger people don't. They don't think about like what's my name going to mean 10 years down the line. Like that's what a lot of people don't get these days. Like what's going to happen to my name? What's going to happen in 10 years when there's someone younger than me who now does what I'm doing and my fan base has moved on? What am I going to do in my life?
Or does something more outrageous?
Well, I mean, who wants to watch a 55-year-old like tase a rat, you know, but like at that point it's like when do you kind of figure out what to do? Like,
well, Johnny Knoxville has a new movie, and he does all kinds of crazy stunts. But at least he's getting paid. I mean, it's a big budget movie.
It's Jackass with a plot line now. So I don't.
How long do you want to play in a spotlight?
That's the other thing.
What is your spotlight?
Yeah, what do you want to do? Like, there's some actresses and actors that I look up to that are very smart with what they do. They'll do their movies, and you don't know about their personal life. Denzel Washington, what does he do in his personal life? I have no idea. Like
he's been married for like forever.
Yeah,
he's happily married.
He's got like a group of friends.
That's where I'm at. Just follow what I do.
Yeah, so it's like you want to use social media and technology to the point that like you're happy with what your idea of success is. Because everyone has different ideas and levels of what success is. So it's kind of like, do you want to be on Instagram? Do you want to put, how much do you want to put yourself out there? And that's the first thing I always ask people. And also be careful what you put out there, because people will dig up anything. I have 26,000 tweets. And if I ever get to the point where someone's like, hey, there's a spotlight on this guy, let's see what he said back in 2007. Like, they're going to be able to do that. Yeah. So it's like, you think about what you're doing. For all you other younger people out there, think about what you're doing. Where do you want to be in the future? And then, like, kind of go with that. That's the only thing I can say with technology, because it's a dangerous thing at times. Oh, yeah.
But to use it for advertising,
sure,
it's there. And I think that's what, to me, that's what's good for.
Yeah, the advertising is great on it. The whole trick is to not make it look like advertising. That's what I realized, because I hate advertisements. But when you get like a commercial that's funny and I'm laughing, the last thing I think about is the fact that it's an advertisement. I think that's a good joke. And then I'm like, oh, they're trying to sell me Tide. Yeah. Like, damn it, they got me.
Trying to make you eat Tide Pods.
Oh,
like the kids.
Don't get me started on that. Those stupid shit being done for years. Now Tide Pods are just the hot thing. I can't wait for the next one.
I saw a girl jump off a building and break her leg or whatever, and she's screaming in agony just for like the thrill of jumping off the building. It was a house, and I'm kind of like, she just broke her leg. Like, what was the point of that?
You do stupid things and you get stupid prizes.
But tons of people are watching.
But I guess it's just a fame junkies.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm famous now. Okay, but your leg is shattered in 15 pieces and now you can't walk for the rest of your life.
She's writhing in agony, but 200,000 views or whatever. So ridiculous. Speaking of advertising, tell us about your book and everything else. Yeah.
Well, basically, people know me. They've known me singing, so I wanted to bring my. Okay. This is how everything started, I guess.
You should have sang today. We have all kinds of live music coming up later. Okay.
And even when there was cassettes.
Wow, so, cassettes. That's old school.
This is 90s. Then I went on to act, and basically that's what started bigger fame for me. And then they said, oh, well, since you're known as a scream queen, why don't you write a little horror piece? A little story. So I sat at the computer and said, oh, do I want to do vampire? And going back and forth. And I just let my fingers go and came up with a story, and it made it in my book.
So is your character in there? Or is
basically I just wrote a story, and I used my full name. It's called Beach Dead or Alive, and you can get it from wd.com or on Amazon. And there's a lot of short stories, so if you're into short stories with spookiness and mystery. There you go. So now you're a singer, author, actress, multi-talented. I definitely want to write more.
Model.
Write more full stories. I write a lot of skits. What I do now for acting, so it's definitely in me, the writing. So
there you go.
And music writing as well. I just left that when I went to acting.
And why did you have to leave? Why couldn't you juggle?
Do both. Well, I guess the love was more for the acting, and right. I felt more fulfilled, and to play a character, to be the character, and just acting is just awesome. What an awesome life, to be able to just, the costumes and portraying, even when you got to dig deep and be whoever, it's all good.
Pretending to be someone else is pretty awesome, I will say. Like it's a good way to get over some anxieties, I would say. Like I pretend at work that I pretend that I enjoy it. So yes. Like that's how I act.
Interesting. And speaking of horror movies, yours truly acted in one. It's called Lorelei Runes, and it's screening at the Gods of the Paradox Film Festival.
Fantastic.
Saturday, May 12th at the Anthology Film Archives, legendary theater in Manhattan, 32nd 2nd Avenue. And that's Saturday, May 12th at 2 p.m. And you can meet the cast and crew. There's several horror films screening that day. So I got attacked by a vampire who threw me to the ground like a half dozen times, and I still feel the residual effects of that. This very large vampire.
And did you catch it on social media? No, I'm
The publicity's out there. I don't know what they've shown and not shown, but it's out there. But it's called Lorelei Runes. It's about a female vampire. It's right up your alley.
Yeah, I've been a vampire many times.
So how did you become a vampire mermaid? That's different.
Well, I was doing the vampire thing, and then I was doing the mermaid. So then the creator of Destiny the Vampire Mermaid asked me if I wanted to be the spokesmodel. Of course, I said yes. And then after that, I was in each issue of Scary Monsters magazine for 20 years or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. They finally sold the magazine.
Oh, okay.
So my character is now just in... I did live comic action adventure stories with her. I'm going to do more. Maybe do a movie. I really think Disney should really just take me up on this.
Yeah, why not?
Because it's mermaids are big right now, like really big.
Disney's doing Star
I've been doing
Wars
it longer.
now, so it doesn't have to be G. It could be PG or R.
They're doing everything now.
Yeah. Do you know how many? I think we could do a lot with our character.
Yeah, do you know how many companies are tied to Disney? Like really look at it. Like Disney owns like half the entertainment industry at least.
I want to know why I've held Disney stock for like 5 years and haven't made any money.
Oh, wow.
Every one of these movies makes like $1 billion and the stock never makes money. What's that all about?
I don't know. They paid me well. I worked for Disney for 3 months.
Really?
I sang on their ship.
Oh, okay.
And Jennifer Hudson was
like?
on the ship as well before she was Jennifer Hudson.
Really?
Yeah, she got paid less than me then.
Wow.
Now she's kicking my butt.
Wow, that's an interesting story. Like,
yeah, I think with the singing shows, they help people a lot to get discovered. You know, the talent shows I think were a real plus.
What is the experience like as a performer to sing on a ship?
Well, you get overpaid and you don't have to work a whole lot, and you get to go to all the islands.
Oh, so
when you're a top entertainer.
Positive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you're a worker that caters to the public, it's harder. More hours. You don't get to get off at each port and such like that. But Disney treats their entertainers very, very well. Okay. I must say that, but I don't know about the stock, so you'll have.
I'm gonna ask you a tough question now. If you were talking to, let's say, a 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old actress who wants to follow a similar path, what would you say about the pros and cons of it all? What advice? Let's say your niece wanted to do this. What advice would you give?
Oh, I think she will want to do this. Just make sure you're talented. I think we covered this before at one show. That make sure you're don't kid yourself. Make sure you really, really do govern the talent.
I find it hard just to remember lines. You know.
Memorization. People study differently. Yeah.
But it's easier for some than others.
And there's different times that they say you don't use your whole brain. There's different times where you'll look at a script and go, oh, gosh. And then another time you'll go, oh, and it'll just go right in. Right. It's like the brain, I think, is like that with everyone. Different times you'll absorb, and some it's all cluttered. And what's up front, and you got to sync it back, and like almost like a computer. Okay, store this back there. I need more room.
So your 18-year-old niece comes to you. So, I want to be an actress like you. What do you say? Make sure you really love this, because it takes a lot. A lot of sacrifice. Like
if you want a relationship, that's kind of hard to have a relationship in this business. And that's hard to tell someone young that hasn't started out yet.
Right. And why is that? Because there's so much time spent on
a lot of travel, and relationships really need time to nourish themselves.
And you're always on the road, and
you got to get used to like hearing the word no a lot.
Yeah,
that's another thing too.
Nobody wants no.
Everyone. You don't want to hear no, but you get used to hearing, nah, not really. And that's a story I hear from a lot of people. Like every actor, there's actors literally that just like big time actors, like they've been in Disney productions and they just go to auditions and they're told no.
Oh yeah.
And like it's like, but I was in this movie. It's like, yeah, but you're not right for the part. Right. So you gotta get used to hearing no, but also understand that it's not necessarily you think. So you gotta get used to hearing no and just keep on going and stay optimistic.
Let me tell you something. I was one of the producers on The Wrestler, and major directors are told no as far as funding, as far as the next project. You're only as good as your last one or two movies. If your last one or two movies bombed, your stock has dropped, and you
got to constantly prove yourself.
Yeah, guys like George Romero were always chasing, where do I get the funding? How do I get the funding? George Romero. You're talking about the heights of horror and even mainstream filmmakers. Spike Lee did a GoFundMe or whatever, a Kickstarter. It's you could be the biggest name in the business, and it's not that easy to get money, and it's a very tough business, and at times it's a brutal business.
But yet there is constantly movies in the theater.
Oh yeah.
So they're being made. There is money.
But the other side of the coin is there's endless movies that are just dropped onto Roku or YouTube that nobody's seen. So, it's a tough business.
If
anyway, you look at it.
You have to love it. So the niece has to love it.
Right.
Stick with it.
Well, there's the answer.
Yeah.
If you stick with the show that airs after this, Under the Radar, they talk about movies that no one's ever heard of, and they're still made. And they had some guests on there, movies that and they talk about I got lucky with finding financial backing for some of their projects. It's a job. It's a 24/7 job. Like, if you want people to back you, you gotta give them the faith. You gotta give them everything you got. You gotta just keep on going at it, because it is a job. I have my own little thing that I'm doing right now, and I'm checking every day. I'm pretty sure the second we cut to a commercial, I'm gonna look at my phone and go, how are we doing here? Put it back real quick. It's 24/7. Yeah. It's communication 24/7, always doing.
Let me just say something. We did The Wrestler. It took 7 years between the original script and when we shot it. The movie 350 Days, I'm associate producer. It's a full-length documentary. Bret Hart, superstar Billy Graham, some of the biggest names in the wrestling business. 5 years. 5 years it's taken to finally get it done, ink the deal. It's coming this year. I'll have major announcements coming up soon. But the point being, that's 12 years just on 2 films. Yeah. With no guarantee that anybody's going to get rich from it, any of them. I mean, it's very tough. It's a very tough business.
You just have to fill your time into working on your craft.
Yeah.
And there's more talent. If you have one talent, you have other talents. We weren't just born with one talent. We have many talents, and I believe we need to make a living off of our talents, whatever they may be. So,
well, since you mentioned that, you're talking multiple streams of income. Mm-hmm. You're acting, but you're also selling books and music and merchandise and doing autograph appearances. You need the multiple streams of income to make it all work. It's very tough to be limited to one thing today. Unless, of course, you're Denzel Washington, who you mentioned, who's making $20 million a picture. That's a different ballgame.
And if you want to lay back, some of those people don't want to lay back either. They want to keep putting things out because they love to do it.
What I have the most respect for is when a major star says, I'm going to do quality work on a shoestring and forsake that big paycheck. That happens on occasion.
Yeah.
The opposite extreme is a guy like Eddie Murphy who will put his name on anything, no matter how god awful, for the paycheck.
Yeah, look at some of these big actors and stuff. They invest in certain things. Like, I believe it's the guitarist from Pearl Jam put money into Starbucks when it was like a small little thing, and it blew up. Now this guy doesn't, of course he doesn't have to work a day of his life because he's in Pearl Jam, but if it was every other person, you wouldn't have to work.
Right.
You wouldn't.
Yeah. That's unusual.
It's about selling to the public because there's more of them than working individual things.
So Debbie, what do you have to sell? What's coming up? what projects you have coming up?
Oh, well, I'm still working on bits and pieces, and things aren't done yet or not.
Anything being released shortly? Anything in the can?
Not to next show. I'll let you know.
Okay, so right now you're promoting the book.
Still promoting and still doing projects, and nothing is finished being edited, and things are still being taped. So
okay, and tell people the name of the book again.
Well, this is Nick Albert.
Okay.
And this is Nicholas Albert, I guess. Basically, my story is called Beach, Dead or Alive. And there's a bunch of short stories in here of horror and mystery, and it's worth buying. If you like to read this, which I know there are a lot, and you want to see how I am as an author, and that's DebbieD.com or Amazon.
And a friend of mine, you may know her, Zainab Ali. She did a horror CD where you listen to scary stories. That's old school. That's old school.
But people like that too. Yeah.
And she's gonna make a movie soon, so I'm gonna help her with that.
Oh, that's nice. What, are you financing?
No. I learned a long time ago. Don't put your money into movies.
There's a no, people.
Yeah.
Well, that's not always true. There is some really good stories. So it's like there's. Well, I think what it is everything. Like anything else, it's flooded. So there's so many scripts.
How many of content? That's the problem.
How many scripts can you read? You know, like people that have money, they want to invest, and they're like bombarded. So it's picking the good one. Whoever's going to make that really good reel, right? Mm-hmm. And keep checking back, like you said, and saying, and really know you have it, not just like I want this and this is, make sure it's good before you push it out.
In theater, they call that angels. I mean, and they are like angels because most plays don't make money.
Yeah.
You know, they're basic. It's almost like a donation, a tax write-off or whatever. Because a hit Broadway show is few and far between. It's
But a Broadway show is always nice to watch.
Of course.
I just wish it didn't cost $400. Like Jesus, what? I want to see.
People to pay.
Yeah, I want to see Hamilton. I gotta pay almost. I gotta like be on a waiting list for like 3 years. I could probably get a kidney donated to me faster before I go see Hamilton. Actually, I get things for like the audition. And it's like, oh, we're auditioning for Hamilton. I'm like, are you telling me that I can audition for Hamilton and be in Hamilton better than trying to buy tickets to go see Hamilton? Is this crazy?
Sounds like
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to learn to rap now. Jeez.
Well, I find it absolutely ridiculous that somebody like Eric Clapton is getting $750 orchestra at the Garden. I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd. You take your wife to a concert and it's $1,500. Come on. How he's not that good.
That's the vacation, dear.
That's ridiculous.
That's your vacation.
Ridiculous. What do you think? Jim Savali's at the helm, engineering.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jim?
I think it's all crazy. I think people should pay $1,500 to come see the Evan Ginzburg Show.
That's right.
Yeah.
Donate $1,500 to the station and help independent radio. Forget
We promise we won't pay the landlord with it.
$1,500 for 2 tickets to a concert. That's face value. That's not scalpers. And that's not even including Ticketmaster or whatever. Yeah, no, I can't imagine. I really can't imagine. It's hey, look, the Yankees behind home plate's $1,250 for a regular season game. They were getting $2,500, but it was empty, so they graciously slashed it to $1,250.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
When the only person that can buy those seats are the players themselves.
Well, it's corporate. No, it's corporate. A lot of these seats. The Knicks, who are horrendous, get 3,000 courtside regular season.
Man,
3,000 courtside.
The only games I like going to are hockey games, and that's it. I've been to like baseball games, and I'm like, can we leave, please? This is so. I can't do live sports except the hockey. That's it.
I go down to BB King's and see the greatest musicians in the world for a $20-$30 cover. You don't need to spend $750 to go hear some great music. It's ridiculous.
Well, you're in the same room, breathing the same air. There's something to that.
At BB King's, you're right. They're as close as I am to you. I mean, what's better than that?
I love your air.
What's better than that?
I'll just YouTube it. I'll watch it live on YouTube.
Anyway, speaking of music, when we come back, we have Lisa Polizzi, we have Blaze Savillo, we have live music in studio. So, Debbie, plug any websites, anything you want to plug.
It's DebbieD.com. So, please let me know how you like the show. Let me know what you want to where you want to see me. But that's
any
how you get a
conventions
hold
coming
of
up
me.
you want to plug?
No, I mean Joy Theater is coming up.
And when's that?
Yeah, that's the last weekend of April. What are those dates?
I don't know.
28th, 29th.
It's in the 20s.
Yeah, it's somewhere. They have a website.
I was at Chile years ago with the Valiant Brothers and Captain Lou Albano hosting a panel. That was a lot of fun. Then I was sitting in the lobby with Lou Albano, You know Captain Lou?
Oh, yeah.
And he had the rubber bands in his face and the Hawaiian shirt, and he's laughing at everybody else walking by. It was interesting, you know. He didn't realize how funny he looked. He was looking at everybody in the outfits, and chill is fun.
It is a good time.
Yeah.
And the shows are good because it's like Halloween all year.
Yeah, and some
And you get
colorful,
to,
talented
and,
people.
and the celebrities are as big as they come. So if you like meeting celebrities, which we know New Yorkers love that.
I have a Chilla story. I went to Chilla to say hello to Seika, the adult film queen. She's a friend of mine. And who's sitting in the same room? Jim Kelly from Enter the Dragon. So when it's a star from like my youth, I like mark out. I'm like, oh my God, it's Jim Kelly, you know. And the guy looked great. He couldn't be any nicer. And like 2 years later, he was dead.
Oh,
The guy looked great. You
yeah.
know? Jim Kelly, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. True story. Richard Roundtree was there. I mark out for like the old school actors that I grew up on. You know.
Yeah, well, Linda Blair's been to many of them. You know, and
Yeah, Linda Blair. Yeah.
I mean, it's endless the amount of actors that have been to the shows. So that's exciting.
You know,
Breathing the same air.
that reminds me. I have to see The Exorcist over again because when I saw it as a kid, like my eyes were closed like half the time. I have to actually see it. So, yeah, The Exorcist. What do you think? What's your favorite horror movie?
I used to say The Exorcist, but Jaws. I guess Jaws. Jaws still takes the
Jaws is
cake.
scary,
You know, I mean, they're close, but water. I mean, like The Exorcist, okay. You know, the devil's lurks, but water. I mean, Jaws was any body of water affected you after that.
Yeah,
you know.
I was talking to Steve before. A Quiet Place. We both saw yesterday. And tremendous. A Quiet Place. Do you know about that?
Ooh.
Oh my God!
It's such a good movie.
It's
Well, I gotta see it.
this family's out in the woods and like these giant monsters that look like the monster in Alien are stalking them, but they're blind and they do it. They have great hearing, so they have to be. It's like a silent movie. Like nobody's talking most of the movie. It's wild.
I would say the first
Great.
half hour is easily just sign language and quiet. Like you can hear there's a guy like opening up like a gun package, and you can hear it like in the theater. The guy will be on the other side. It's insane.
I would say it's one of the 20 best horror movies I've ever seen. How great was that movie?
I'm not big into horror movies. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
Quiet
okay.
Place.
Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Well, I like the Blair Witch Project.
I did too.
Because I thought they did
I
a
did
good
too.
job out of nothing. I mean, they really had. I liked
That's
it.
the kind of movie you either love or hate.
I when I was younger, when that movie came out, I must have been 16 at the time or so, and I was in Boy Scouts. And me and my closest friends, I'm still friends with today, we made a parody of that movie.
Yeah.
And we made a parody of that movie, and it is lost to time. Someone has a copy of it, and we still don't know where it is. But we made like a comedy parody to it, and it was like when we watched it like a couple of years ago because that one person still had the copy. And it was just like what we did was we did it shot by shot from beginning to end, no editing because it was VHS and we didn't know how to do that because we're 16. And there was one shot where my friend was wearing the costume. He's a larger fellow. He's like, so at one point the guy hits a fence, and then as he hits the fence and gets like jumps off of it, he gains like a bunch of weight and then moves and starts running, and we're like. Yeah, this is awful, but hey, this was fun at 16. So
That's the kind of movie you either love or hate.
Yeah.
There's like no in between.
Yeah, there isn't. I've never seen someone go.
You didn't like it, right? You didn't like it, Steve.
But just when
Well,
I saw it in
no.
the theater. For
Yeah, I
first
liked
time.
it.
The
And
first
you liked
person,
it,
the
yeah.
first person gets me sick. Like, I saw what was the other movie that was in first person that J.J. Abrams did? I can't remember. Cloverfield. That I had to pause Cloverfield and get up and walk around for a bit.
I was getting ill.
Yeah, I had
Too
to.
much.
I had to stand up and go. Okay, we're okay. Let's watch this. Let's finish this.
I didn't know what to expect, so I saw it in the theater, the Blair Witch Project. And
I liked it.
Just sitting there looking at it, I'm like, oh, I get this now. I get why, because you really didn't know if it was
I
real
liked
or
it, but
not
I
real.
can understand why
I
people
can
wouldn't.
right,
Yeah.
same with
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
I could see where you didn't get it completely, or if you did get it, you still didn't like it.
I gave it credit for being like generally creepy, and like the marketing behind it made it seem like this is a real
Like,
thing.
you're right,
And I was
right.
just
That's
like,
what I mean.
that was what I was more like impressed with. It was like, this is a real
That
thing.
worked. It
Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
You know what I don't get? I'm reading online more and more lately. Young people post, I don't understand musicals. People just start singing and dancing, and I'm like, well, they're musicals. That's why they start singing and dancing.
I was about to say that. I was like,
it's almost like everybody's together, someone gets drunk, and they get up and start singing and dancing, so they kind of think,
I mean, you could say that about anything. It's like a kung fu movie. Why do they all start fighting? It's a kung fu movie, you know? It's like, I go to bars all the time. Nobody's brawling, you know? Right?
Sometimes.
It's how it hits you. Like, you know, why don't you just have dialogue? All of a sudden, you have to get up and sing and start, like...
I mean, but the post, I don't like West Side Story. It makes no sense to me. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's a masterpiece.
So I don't get steak. It's meat.
They did that well.
You don't get what?
I don't get steak. It's meat. Like what he did. That's the point of steak is that it's meat and it's cooked that way. That's what it is. Like people.
Well, as a wrestling fan, when people go, "I don't like wrestling. It's fake," I'm going, "Well, in the movies, they're not really shooting each other. Debbie's not biting somebody in the neck. I mean, come on. You know, it's a movie. I don't get that either."
Keanu Reeves really can't stop time.
That's
just
right.
That's right. Put that out there. Although he hasn't aged in like 20-something years, so maybe that might be false. So.
Well, anyway, we must get to our next guest. Debbie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again.
Always a pleasure. Debbie D.